Hello everyone and welcome to my video and channel. I am Muda and some exciting stuff happened over the weekend. I went to my local League Cup and I won it. The first time I've ever actually won a cup. I had a few close calls getting in top cut here and there and stuff, but yeah, this time everything just kind of went in my favor. I went undefeated 4-0 during Swiss, and I only lost one game in best of three during top cut. It was only a top four cut. I believe there was, I want to say like 14 masters. It was a pretty small turnout, mostly the local scene. Um, it was a complete local top four, so that was kind of nice. I am familiar with a lot of these people, so no hard feelings for anyone. No one salty or anything. Everybody was really cool. Few people from out of town came in though, so there was some representation. But overall, it was a really good day. I just wanted to kind of go over my matches with you and what did well, what didn't do well in the deck, things like that. I did run Lugia, as you can see by the picture. Pretty straightforward list. The Cinchino, I swear by the Cinchino line. Some cut it, but I did cut it a little bit. I went 2-2 on the Cinchino line. Some went 3-2, but I had to get some things. I had to fit a few more things in the deck. But overall, pretty straightforward list. I did opt for the Iron Bundle, which you will find out later was probably the MVP of the day for that deck. It came in handy so much. But otherwise, pretty straightforward list. I don't think I would really change anything too much. The Wellspring Ogerpon I did not use at all during the event, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have value in other matchups. So yeah, round one, I went up against Charizard Dragapult. Um, they kind of had a rough start. They started with a Radiant Zard. Um, and I had an okay start. I started with, I believe, Lugia and just the Iron Bundle. Um, but I did end up getting a knockout on the Radiant Zard with a Luminion, actually. Saying I got to shuffle the Luminion back in the deck. So it took away a target from him and it got rid of his Radiant. So he put up the Cleffa, he Grasping Draw. And that's where the Iron Bundle really came in clutch. I used the Iron Bundle Hybrid Blower to force around the Cleffa, which he put up his Dracloak. So I knocked out the Dracloak, so he didn't get Dragapult off the entire game. And then after that, it was pretty much just clean up. I had the Cinchinos ready, and once he got Zard online, I was just swinging for 350, knocking it out every time. Pretty straightforward win. Definitely put me in a good spot for the day, I think. Um, Round two, I went up against Regidrago. I did put in the V-Guard energy with the thought of hitting a lot of Regidragos. That would have been the only Drago I faced that day. I got to go first, so that I think helped a lot. And I pretty much just kept bossing up his Regidrago. He never got the V-Star online, not once. And by the time he finally was able to take a knockout with the Ogerpon, by that point I could one-shot him with just about everything I had on board, minus the Archeops. The Luminion definitely came into play there a lot too, just to search for another boss. Yeah, he just couldn't get going. I just outpaced him, and that's kind of how it goes in that matchup sometimes. I think Lugia has a pretty favorable matchup anyway, but it can be scary if Lugia bricks. However, in that matchup, I was a little worried because both my Minchinos were actually prized. So I never got them actually online. It was just two Lugia V Stars and that was pretty much it. So I was a little worried there. I'm glad he didn't get the Drago V-Star up, because I would have had a harder time getting the Cinchinos down, because I didn't get into them until about halfway through my prize cards. I pulled them. So I actually never got those down that game. But the next round, this one was with a play testing partner of mine. He was also running Charizard Dragapult. This one was janky, to say the least. I only got one Archeops down. One Archeops down, and I loaded up Lugia. I started taking knockouts. But what helped was I actually used Serena in this matchup. Now, Serena was a card that I was actually going to cut. The day before the tournament, I put it back in the deck because I thought I needed more discard potential. And turns out the second effect of Serena was way more valuable than the first. Before he could collapse Stadium his Luminion away, I got to Serena the Luminion up. I don't know if he was expecting that or had that in the back of his mind, but it came in clutch there. I got the knockout with the Lugia, and he actually knocked out my Archeops. So my one Archeops was gone after the next turn, so I had to basically just manually attach. Luckily, he was kind of drawing dead. He had to Grasping draw a couple times, and then I got a really good Iono off that disrupted his hand about midway through. I bossed up his final Charmander the turn after that, so he couldn't get a Charizard off. And yeah, he pretty much just kind of had a rough time, unfortunately, but it was very close. But the Iono just kind of won me the game there. So at this point, I was 3-0 in the tournament, and I thought I was going to get paired up against the only other 3-0 person there, which happened to be a senior. But something to do with the way the pairings were, it wouldn't be able to pair us and not have a repeat matchup, I guess. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but I actually got paired up against my other playtesting partner, who he was 2-1 at this point, and I was 3-0. And so I was not able to ID. I was really hoping to ID there, but I didn't get to. So we had to play it out. And yeah, it was a very interesting matchup. He did set up the Iron Thorns pretty early on, but I actually got a Tails off a Capturing Aroma, and I Iron Bundled around his Iron Thorns the Summoning Star. So once again, the Iron Bundle came in clutch again. I believe I actually used it in the last round as well, though I don't think it got as much value off there. But yeah, after that, my opponent was struggling. He was definitely prized some energy. He was just having a rough time. He did get the Iron Hands off, but by that point, I had actually a Blood Moon Ursaluna. And yeah, so I had to attach 3 energy to Blood Moon. With Archeops, that was very easy. I actually jet energied from hand and just Primal for, I believe, 2 energy, and then I swung for 240, and then pretty much after that it was GG. He just couldn't recover from that, unfortunately, but you know, that it happens. And then at that point, I pretty much secured, top cut. I was 4-0. So going into top 4, I played against the round 1 Charizard player, and so it was a rematch. The only thing I did wrong there was, so I went first, but I was just in a really rough spot. I kind of anticipated that he was going to knock out one of my Pokemon when he didn't. So it actually left me with only one bench spot to Summoning Star. That was kind of a misplay on my part. I did go ahead and attempt to get it going, but he was kind of outpacing me. I should have scooped sooner, actually. That's my only misplay. I should have scooped sooner. I'm not as well versed in best of three. I need to kind of get back into the groove of that, but it is what it is. Game two went first. It was very close, but I was kind of starting to come away with it near the end. Though my opponent did unfortunately do a pretty bad misplay. My opponent recon directive, and for some reason, I'm not sure. I definitely think he was kind of new to the deck in general playing this deck because he took the top card instead of putting it on the bottom, he put it in the middle. I don't know if he thought he was supposed to reshuffle. The judge saw it after, like just after it happened. He said it was a Manaphy. I do believe my opponent. Like, I mean, he's a local. I've played him before. I have no reason not to believe him. But the judge did have to issue a double prize penalty. Um, but I did end up winning. It sucks that he got a double prize penalty, but I don't think it would have changed the way the game was going. I was starting to pull ahead pretty quick. Um, Unfortunately, we only had 10 minutes left in the round for game three. So I was like super locked in, wasn't chit chatty. I was just playing as fast as I could possibly play. And the game went to time. We were actually on his, he started at turn zero. So when it was turn two, he actually got a two prize knockout, and we both had three prizes. Um, but I had Boss in hand, and I knocked out one of his one prizers, got around his Charizard at the end of my turn. So then at that point, it checks for sudden death, and I had I had less prizes. Therefore, I won the match. Um, it was a janky match overall. The only thing I would have done differently, I would have scooped sooner in game one. And I think that would have just time wouldn't have been a factor by game three. But that's something that I'm gonna have to work on better and just realize when the lines just aren't there for the win. You just got to go to game two. The finals was another local, a Gholdengo player, a very well Gholdengo player. He typically plays Gholdengo. So I was a little nervous because I mean I've played him before against this same matchup. The only difference is I do know he ran in Enhanced Hammer, and I took out the backup, the Roseanne's backup, out of my deck, so I didn't have that. Because I kind of, but I was able to get an Iron Hands off anyway. Um, but he did Enhanced Hammer it immediately after, and there was no way to get that back, so Iron Hands just kind of sat there. But game one, I was set up very well. The Archeops just, in the discard almost immediately. I was set up, took the knockouts, had Cinccino set up for the Gholdengo's late game. There just wasn't much that he could do. After that point, game two, opponent went first. We were both kind of dead drawing. I believe that game I had to read the win like twice, but I eventually got the Archeops out. And the Serena came in really clutch. I don't know if he was expecting the Serena play, but I had Serena in hand. I was actually like thinking, oh, I can discard, draw a couple cards, because I didn't really have like a great supporter to play that turn. But then he put down the Palkia and the Palkia V, and it's like, okay, Serena and Tempest Dive. So yeah, and then I had the Cinccino in missed, so he wasn't really able to like get Greninja's attack off at all. I felt bad. He was just kind of bricking game two, but and yeah, that was pretty much it. That was all my matchups for the day. It was only top four cut, but nothing too crazy. Um, the MVPs of the deck are undoubtedly Iron Bundle and Serena. I got two very valuable knockouts off the Serena's second effect, and the Iron Bundle. I definitely think it has more value early game. The later you use it, the less value you're going to get in most cases. unless they put up like something to tank and they just hope you don't have the boss or a gust. But the Iron Bundle really early is really clutch, especially I think in the Charizard matchup. Because I know in the first game, like I said, my opponent had a Cleffa up. They obviously expected me to knock out the Cleffa, but I forced around it. Um, and yeah, the jamming tower did not really become a factor, but that was more for the Guardy matchup anyway. It did help having a stadium bump in general, though. So I definitely think Lugia definitely needs a stadium bump because my Zard opponent did run one Sinnoh. I waited for him to drop the Sinnoh, and then I dropped the jamming tower. So I bumped the Sinnoh. The Wellspring Overpond I did not use the entire day, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't get value. I just never saw the opportunity over getting maybe an Iron Hands off or something like that. Iron Hands definitely came in clutch. The Blood Moon Ursaluna came in clutch, weirdly enough, during the mid game, not so much during the late game. The V-Guard never actually mattered in the Drago matchup, but it was fine to have. I did cut one of the Mist Energy, which Mist did save me against my Cinccino getting knocked out from Dragapult. My opponent forgot I had Mist Energy, and he declared the attack, and it's like, okay. He like, that's knocked out, and I'm like, at first I was like, yeah, but I'm like, wait, no, I primaled a Mist Energy on it, so I did cut one of the Mist Energy right before the tournament to make space, and I think 3 is fine. Though with as much Dragapult as I played against, 4 probably would have been a little better. But overall, it was a great day. I was undefeated. I only dropped one game the entire day in the best of. And yeah, I know it's not like a super spicy Lugia list, but I was super excited. I've never won a cup before, so that was a huge accomplishment. Check off the bucket list. Wasn't even something that was on my radar this season. I was looking more to like do well at regionals more than cups, but first cup of the season, and we got a win. Can't say too much. Got to show off the my new playmat, a Lorcana playmat, and yeah, the Mr. Rogers VSTAR marker is goated. So that's it. Definitely let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Definitely leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you guys haven't yet. I really appreciate the support. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my deck profile for Lugia. And have a great one, guys. Love y'all. Stay safe. Peace.